Okay, this morning we went over to G&J, and what they do is they make brake hoses and stuff for us. Now these look all kind of fancy smancy, and I guess to some degree they are. They're stainless steel braided, and normally you wouldn't do that when you're just doing a nice decent daily driver. The problem is that the original ones that you get from Pep Boys or what have you, they'll run you like 20 or 30 bucks a piece, but I got both of these for the same price as I get one, and they look all cool and they're like a lot tougher and stuff like that. So when you are going to put these on and double check them, you want to make sure they don't get bound up when you are in your extreme turn in, and on your turn out we want to make sure that it does not have any excessive pull on it or anything. Also, when you get calipers, they'll come with these copper washers right here, and what you need to do is put them one on front and one on back of this right here, and that will hopefully keep your brakes from leaking at this spot. And you generally do not want to use your old ones. You normally want to get new ones every time you do something like this. Okay, so now I'll show you how to button this stuff up a little bit plainer. So what we want to do when we are tightening up rotors is we tighten this up, we spin it, and make sure it spins freely. When it gets tight, and I just mean snuggish tight, not tight, then what we want to do is we're going to turn it back about a quarter of a turn. Might have to move the nut back and forth in order to get that on there right. You can't have your bolt here too tight, because what will happen is that it'll put too much pressure on the bearings and they'll fail prematurely. So now we're all nice and tight here. About to put my brake caliper on. I'm just going to get a little bit of grease on my contact areas. Make sure we have a nice clean rotor before we put on our caliper. You use brake clean, acetone, what have you. You may not want to shoot it all over everything though, because you don't want to have your paint come off. hang on a second. Okay, so when we get our brake lines on, remember to put your clip on. So there's generally this clip right here that will either come with your brakes or it will be on the brake pad already. So make sure we get that on. And that just fits in there like that. And this just helps it hold into the caliper right here. See that divot in there, and that'll just hold on. But before we put that on, you're going to want to put some silicone or brake quiet or what have you on the back side of the pad to help keep noise down. So when you install your caliper, they've actually looked the same left and right. The way to tell the difference is that this bleeder screw has to be on top because air rises in fluid, so it has to be on top in order to get the air out of the brakes. And you want to make note that this bolt right here that goes into the caliper is not normal. You'll see that it's got a little hole right there, and it's got a little hole right there, so the fluid can come in and out, of course. So don't forget, we put on our copper washer, then our brake line, and another copper washer to tighten up. Okay, so with our wheels on there, you can see that that's pretty low. But you can see our wheels are kind of bowed out this way here. That one there is kind of bowed out. And that's because when you lower the car, it makes your front wheels go out like this. So what we'll do is right here on these adjusters, we'll adjust those in until they're straighter. And we'll just get the alignment roughly set up before we take it over to the alignment shop and have it done more accurately, but we won't be doing that just yet because we still have to get the engine and tranny in there. So we're just going to wait for the engine and tranny. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to take these brake lines back off because we want to make sure they don't get damaged when we're setting up our engine and tranny stuff. And so really, for all intents and purposes, we are done. Now, one of the things you might notice is that we still have not tightened up these bolts right here, and that's being because when the car was up in the air and these were all the way down, if we were to tighten those, then it would encourage it to stay in that position. So what we'll do is once we get our engine and transmission in there and we have pretty much the full weight of this on there, then we can go ahead and tighten these here up. And then for that matter, we'll tighten up everything else after we're sure everything's copacetic. Now, we will not be doing the bench bleed on the master cylinder just yet, because if we did so, then brake fluid's going to leak all out, so we'll be waiting on that too. So I guess the next thing really is just waiting for that engine and tranny, and we're going to get that on there, and then we'll be all set. We'll see you then. Alright, so let me just give you a quick recap of what we got going on here. Went to brotherstruck.com. We got our brake booster master cylinder. So here you can see there are 2 cylinders on this. Okay, there's 2 canisters for brake fluid. We got 1 line going to the front, 1 line going to the back. We get any leaks, we'll still have half our brakes. This is a 73 to 87 Chevy truck, half-ton front end. And we just simply took out the old cross member and the torsion bars and the whole 9 yards and put this in. What this does for us is that rebuilding the 63 front end is pretty expensive. It was only made for 2 years and this and that and the other. These ball joints are like 20, 30 bucks each. On a 63, it's like, I don't know, 80 or 90 or something. And then the torsion bars just wasn't that great of a way to do it. When you lowered it, it wasn't too cool, especially when they got older and stuff. So this way we get power steering, we get disc brakes, and we get a front end that is a lot less expensive to rebuild. We can go into Pep Boys all day long, get brakes for, I think the calipers are like 20 bucks each, the rotors are like 40 bucks each. You know, just everything on here is easy to get and inexpensive, so that's why we do this. Now, this is just for nice, decent daily driver. If we're gonna slam this thing on the ground, if we're gonna be hopping it, if we're going airbags, miscellaneous things like that, we might want to go a different way. Porterbuilt, tubular A-arms, etc. But this is nice, decent daily driver way to go here. It keeps your costs down, gives you good stance, and it keeps you nice and safe on the road with the disc brakes and the power steering and everything. So just next, we're just going to be getting our engine and tranny, and then I'll show you how to set all that up. Then I'll finish off the rest of the front end here and my brakes and everything. Till then, you guys be cool, okay? Little sidebar here. This is your sway bar right here. Your sway bar keeps the car stable in turns. Without the sway bar, when you turned, the whole car would just kind of turn with you. So the torsion bar works against that and keeps you up even. Now normally what I would do is just go get the drop kit that they sell at Brothers, but I'm gonna try to make something of my own and see if I get lucky or not. Okay, so I think that using this original drop spindle or this original sway bar is going to work. This right here is a bracket out of the 6772, and so it's just going to go right here, and that should just work there. So I'll go to the junkyard and I'll get the bracket that holds it here, and then we'll wait till we get the engine and tranny in and we have it all lowered before we finish the sway bar off, because the height of the vehicle is going to make that sway bar move some. So we got to make sure that we have it at the height that it's going to be, or real damn close, with the engine and tranny in there. Then I'll be able to tighten up all the rest of these bolts and finish off these sway bars. We'll see y'all then.